Hi everyone, today is Sunday, October 11th. This is the channel to get your second stimulus and pandemic news update in a clear and concise summary. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, like, and the bell button. Today I'll be covering COVID-19 news. On to the news regarding Trump's COVID-19 infection. We had breaking news late last night around 9 p.m. Eastern. President Donald Trump's doctor said Saturday night the president is no longer at risk of transmitting the coronavirus. His doctor, Dr. Sean Conley, said Trump meets the CDC's criteria for safely discontinuing isolation, and that by currently recognizing standards of the CDC, he is no longer considered a transmission risk. The memo follows Trump's first public appearance since returning to the White House after being treated for the coronavirus. During that time, we saw hundreds of people in a media event view the Trump public appearance, and we saw Trump give a brief statement, and he looked generally okay after recovering from the coronavirus. So this whole sequence of events marks a remarkable turn in the president's health, and I guess he was on 3 different types of drugs. We know he was on the initial cocktail given by Regeneron. He was on remdesivir treatments, and he was on also dexamethasone, the steroid for usually COVID patients who are pretty serious. So it's pretty remarkable that the doctor considers him no longer a risk of transmitting the coronavirus. And we also noticed that the debate on October 15th was canceled previously on Friday due to the fact that, the council didn't think that Trump was fit to, debate personally with Biden. So this comes as a very interesting development, and we'll keep monitoring the situation. We'll also go over the COVID-19 numbers globally. So if we look at the graph, there's starting to be a huge uptick again. And if we look at October 9th numbers, we have 350,000 new infections globally. And in terms of cases worldwide, we now have over 37 million cases globally and over 1 million deaths. In the United States, if we look closely, we had 51,000 new infections yesterday, and now we have over 7.7 million new cases, and deaths have gone over 214,000, and an increase of 591 deaths yesterday, day over day. So as I said, if we look at October 10th data for the United States, we had over 51,000 new infections for the day, and that's in the middle of the range. We've been banding between 30 and 70,000 new infections per day. If we look at the breakdown per state, we see Texas rapidly increasing and almost catching up to California in terms of the total cases. I think Texas has averaged almost 3,000 new cases for the last few days, keeping pace with California. California comes in at around 854,000 new cases today, Texas at 822,000 cases. Florida was around 729,000 cases. New York at 478,000 cases. And if we look at, which states are kind of breaking out in terms of infections, we can see that states like Arizona are also still on the rise. Colorado, DC, Indiana, Mississippi, Montana have, vastly steeping curves. New Mexico, North Carolina, South Dakota. So a few states in kind of Midwest are really breaking out right now. So it's important to kind of stay vigilant within the second wave. There's Thanksgiving weekend coming up, so there'll be a lot of traveling and family type meetings, dinners. So it's important to kind of take preventative measures, social distancing, washing hands when possible, wearing masks. There's also news indicating that China is spending a lot of money into the global push for a coronavirus vaccine, and they're increasing their spending. The global push to develop a coronavirus vaccine is gathering pace, and there seems to be a battle again between the U.S. drug makers and China for now. And there's been a few articles to say that China seems to have a lead right now just because of laxer regulation and government spending. In the United States, Moderna, one of the leading coronavirus vaccine makers, said that this month it won't be ready for emergency authorization to use the stage 3 virus that they testing that they have until November 25th. We also know that meanwhile, the US-based trial sites of another frontrunner, AstraZeneca, have placed testing on hold after a participant in Britain developed a serious illness last month. So that's a big blow in terms of developing a viable vaccine, in before the end of calendar year 2020 for Trump. So, there's been a lot of articles, as I mentioned, that China is in the lead for developing these vaccines, and China's leader has reportedly urged the country's scientists to accelerate the research and development of coronavirus vaccines. And he's stated many times that this is an important task, both in terms of, health, obviously for the population, but he also stated it was an important political task. And while the successful development of a vaccine would not preclude other countries like outside United States and China, we know that China has placed special emphasis on being first. Obviously, there's a lot of, political and financial gain of having this vaccine first. And we know that there are two main, government-backed companies that are the front runner in China. One is China National Biotech Group, known as CNBG, and another state-owned pharmaceutical giant, China National Pharmaceutical Group, Sinopharm. We know that they're in kind of late-stage development of a vaccine. And just a reminder, in terms of vaccine development, it goes from preclinical to phase 1 to phase 2, phase 3, and then finally implementation. Preclinical, usually vaccines are tested on animal trials and other simulations. Phase 1 is given to a very small control group, usually, between 20 and 50 people. Phase 2 is tested on hundreds of people. And that's when there's more analysis in terms of side effects, immunities. Stage 3 is where currently a lot of the vaccines are right now. And it's given to thousands, tens of thousands, depending on the type of vaccine, and monitoring very closely side effects, obviously, before it's ready to give into the general population. And finally, there's the implementation phase where I mentioned, it's given to the population. Regulators need to review and decide if it is ready for ultimately giving it to the mass population, and they need to decide on manufacturing and licensing agreements with the vaccine corporations. And then that's obviously a big thing for China and the United States. There's a huge financial gain, political gain, and also, a health responsibility to their populations. So I think that's it for now for the COVID-19 news. I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Stay safe. If you like the channel, please like the video, subscribe. See you next time.